All right. Tell us what you did.
Our topic is toaster fires. The group members are Leela, Michaela, Max, and Kanief. We believe toaster fires are a real hazard when it comes to kitchen fires and electric fires. If there is a kitchen fire, do not throw water. Instead, throw baking soda so it can dry it out. One solution is to make sure your toaster is not under.
Our solution is to make sure your toaster is not under anything flammable like a cabinet. Another solution is to check your toaster wires regular to make sure it is safe to use and not damaged. Also to make sure your wires are easily accessible so you can unplug it if it does catch on fire. One piece of data we used is in the past few years, 8,949 of the 32,618 listed fire origins were started in the kitchen. So, and then we just focused on the toaster fires to focus on it.
This is our final product. It's a poster. The poster's on the left side, and I printed this out, and we stuck them up around the city at different bus stops and stuff. And on the right side is the website that the QR code leads to. It's just a simple list on how to prevent toaster fires. And yeah, that's our final product. We'll be able to measure the success because since I made the Google site, I can see how many people visit our website. And so we'll just be able to measure the success by tracking how many people actually use the QR code on the piece of paper.
Great. Thank you all for sharing. Are there any questions that have come up from our audience? And Kanief or Leela, is there anything you all would like to add?
Get the right toaster. Don't buy cheap toasters.
Great. No cheap toasters, says Kanief. Any other comments? Leela, are you here?
And everybody should know this one already. Don't have liquids by a toaster. So if you get something out the freezer and it's thawing out, move your toaster. I don't think we put that in there, but that's a fact.
Will you tell us why, for those who might not?
Because the water or the liquid gonna sweat, and then it's gonna get everywhere. I'm pretty sure you don't want to mess your toaster up.
Because what happens if something plugged in gets wet?
It's called electrical fire.
Or electrocute you.
Somebody could get hurt too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kanief.
You're welcome.
Leela, anything to add? I'm not sure. All right. And then any questions?
Has there been any response yet to the posters?
I have a question.
What's up?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, sorry. Let me get my thoughts straight. For an electrical fire, how would you put that out per se? What would be the recommended way to extinguish an electrical fire?
Well, you should start by, if it's possible, you should start by unplugging whatever, like if your toaster's on fire and it's plugged in, you should start by trying to unplug the toaster because it doesn't matter if it's on fire. If it's plugged in, there's still like electricity running through it, which could be enhancing the fire. And then another thing with electrical fires is you don't put them out with water because that's really dangerous, putting electrical fires out with water. Like Rob said earlier, or Kanief said earlier, water and electricity really don't mix well. So if it is possible, unplug your toaster. And if you have access to a fire extinguisher, then try to use your fire extinguisher. But if you don't have access to a fire extinguisher and you can't unplug your toaster, then the best way to go about it would be to just call emergency services and let them deal with it.
Okay, thank you.
I see a question from Lieutenant Baxter.
Great presentation. I do have one question just to make you guys think a little bit. With COVID-19 hopefully ending and normality coming, that means school's going to be back in session. So what message regarding electrical fires and safety around electrical fires would you have for students who are going to be living in dorms?
Be careful.
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
That's definitely one. So let's expand on the be careful. Come up with one great example that you would give to students living in dorms. And I think I'll give you a hint when you had to unplug it. What about plugging it in? What precautions would you have around that?
I'm gonna let Max go.
I don't really know what precautions you. I mean, I have seen like when you plug stuff in, like I've seen sparks come out. So I don't know. Maybe just make sure that it's not around anything that those sparks could catch. But other than that, I don't know what precaution to take while plugging something in.
All right, I will take that for the final answer of making sure that it's not around flammable items as a great safety message for students going to school.
All right, one last thing. And if you got something on fire, suffocate it, because if it got oxygen, it's gonna stay on fire.
Remove the oxygen. Okay. Thank you. I think one other piece that Baxter was referencing would be the power strips, and one of the groups that we're going to hear from coming up next or soon is going to speak to that very question. Thank you to Michaelan and Max and Kanief and to Leela, who was not able to be here today. Thank you for your work. Appreciate your presentation. Up next is group 2. This is Winnie, Declan, and Demetrius.
Hello, we're group 2 and we're doing kitchen fire, grease fire. And I'm Winnie.
I'm Declan.
And Demetrius is not here. Next slide.
Our data is 49% of house fires are started in the kitchen, and a large percent of those are grease fires. In grease fires, 1 in every 5 house fire deaths are because of grease fires, which means it's very dangerous. Our problem statement is grease fires are very common and deadly because they can spread in a matter of seconds, and people don't realize that water does not extinguish it. Some solutions are to prevent grease fires: heat oil slowly and add food gently so it doesn't splatter, and never leave your pot or pan alone, because in just 30 seconds smoke can break out into a fire. And to extinguish it, if it's small enough, you can put salt or baking soda on. If it's too large, you can put a metal lid or a cookie sheet and turn off the burners to let it cool down. And if you have it, you can put a Class K fire extinguisher on it, and that will extinguish the fire. Our target audience are teenagers around 15 to 25 who don't know how to cook well yet because they haven't had as much practice. But they're starting to cook on their own now.
And our final project is we created a posters and we created a Google form for our target audience to fill out. There's a couple questions on there, and here's the first link for the posters, and here's the second link for the Google form. And next slide, please. And you can just click next. Yep. And so how do we create our posters is we first created a draft on Google Docs, and we just put all the information that Declan had just mentioned before on a Google Doc. Next slide, please. And second step is we use the Canva is a website to help us to create a posters, and then we just put all the information to here and we start designing our posters. Next slide, please. Add some animation in here to show all the posters process. And last, we created a Google form for our target audience after they reading of posters and to make sure they remember all the information. So we just create this Google form for them to see if they really got the information and understands how to put out a grease fires and how to prevent grease fires. And here's all the questions in the Google Forms. And I think this is it. Oh, there's also our measuring of the success. This campaign will be a success if there are 20 people filling out the Google form after reading the poster, but I only got 7 responses. And Ms. Hiller, can you click on next? There's a post will come out. Yep. But I really I got 28% have reviewed these posters, but there's only 7 responses on the Google form. And this is pretty much for you guys.
Nice job. I realized we didn't clap after the last one, but maybe we should clap for this one. You guys did great. If we were in person, you'd hear us all clapping right now. See us clapping. Nice job, and also clapping for our first group here. Are there any questions from the audience?
I have a question. This is Laurel from Casona Aspire. Where did you put up your posters, or did you do it just on social media?
Yes, I post my poster via social media. I put it on Instagram.
Gotcha.
It's a digital poster.
Perfect.
Thank you. Other questions? I have a question. Did you all share this information with your families?
Yeah, I just posted on social media and they liked it. And I told them to fill out Google Forms.
Declan, did you all have any conversations with your families as you were doing this research to make sure that everyone in your house now knows how to deal with a grease fire?
Yeah, I talked to them about it, but I didn't make them do the Google.
Okay, thank you. I see a question from Lieutenant Baxter.
Hi, great job. Just like the first group that went, your posters are amazing. I'm a little jealous right now, and I really like your Google Docs for your information and survey here. This is really detailed, and you really keyed in everything. As an end user, if I was at home in a neighborhood and wanted to find out about this issue, I think this would absolutely answer all of my questions. So great job by this group.
Nice
Thank
work.
you.
Any last questions? All right, thank you very much, Winnie and Declan. Appreciate that. Up next is group 3, Izzy, Melissa, and Max. So
So our topic was unattended cooking fires. So it's similar to the last two, but it's just kind of more generalized, and it's just like leaving your pot on. So the data we found that why we chose to do this topic was that cooking fires are more likely to cause property damage than loss of life. So you're not as likely to die from a cooking fire, but you are more likely to lose property, and like that costs a lot of money. And then 2 out of every kitchen fire are caused by unattended cooking. So like most of the kitchen fire, or not most, but a lot of kitchen fires are caused by cooking that's just been left unattended. And unattended cooking is also the #1 cause of house fires. So that means that like all the house fires that happen, or like most of the ones that happen, start because of cooking that was just left unattended. And then that 82% of homeowners say they own a fire extinguisher, but less than half surveyed were aware of how to use the fire extinguisher that they owned. So that was, yeah.
So our problem statement, based on the most recent 911 data, call data, and interviews with fire safety experts and supervised fires and fires close to combustibles are a threat to life and safety of San Francisco residents because unattended equipment is a factor in 1/3 of reported home cooking fires and over half of the associated deaths, which could be prevented by double checking burners and other materials that are left near the burner /
I can read this one. Our solution was educating single people who live alone about kitchen / cooking fire safety and adding simple reminders, just like little facts that you can have so you double check just to make sure your burner is off and things are away that are flammable. And our target audience was single men who live alone, ages 20 through 40, commonly just because a lot of men are not taught how to cook and are very forgetful.
So it's for success by how many views, because we made a flyer and we posted it digitally. So Melissa and I both posted it on Instagram and Max posted it on TikTok, because that way I put it on my stories and I had a poll so I could see how many people viewed it, and then people could vote if they thought it was helpful. And then for Melissa, she posted on her story and posted to see how many people would like see it and like just how many people it reached to, and then Max could see from on TikTok how many random people it got to instead of just our followers.
So adding on to that, for things like social media and the polls, you can see that many people, like 97% of people that viewed Izzy's story, wrote that it was informative. The TikTok I posted got a total of 19-minute play time. And you can see that it even reached places like Canada. Along with Melissa's got a lot of views as well. And for the TikTok, the poll said only 73% said it was informative.
That's great. Thank you all. This is where we will clap. Not clapping, everybody clap. Thank you, nice work, y'all. How many total people did your work reach?
On my story, 99 people saw it, but only 15 people engaged. And when it was posted on my main page, we were able to get 317 people to see it, but only 26 people engaged, 14 shared, and three saved our flyer, and we got 6 people to click on the link in our bio.
For mine, I posted it just on my story and it reached 165 people, but out of the 165, only like 50 engaged, but still it's pretty good.
Yeah.
For mine, 178 people viewed it. I would say about 20 to 25 people engaged. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That still reached nearly 500 people. That's pretty impressive. Are there any questions from the audience here? Is there a slide here that has the actual poster that you all, let's see if I go back here. There it is, final product. Can one of you talk about what it is you chose to put on the flyer and how you chose that and what your hashtag is?
Yeah, so for we decided to do kind of 3 sections so it could be easier visually to kind of see the different parts. So the first part is how to prevent kitchen fires. This is just like safety tips, like basic things everyone can do when they're cooking in the kitchen. And then we did what not to do and what to do, because there are some things people might be doing that they might not even think about, that's actually like really dangerous. And then for the last part, it was just general, like it's not necessarily just for cooking fires, it's for higher fires in general. So like creating a safety plan, like you should do that already. If you're like in a house, you should already have one. And the did you know is just like kind of some fun facts to engage people. And our hashtag all eyes on the stove is just more like, it's like to watch your pots and like to always never leave like a fire unattended, like always be in the kitchen if you're cooking. Don't never leave it to like go do something else, because that could be like really, really dangerous.
I like that. All eyes on the stove. Thanks, Izzy. Baxter, I see you have a question.
Great job again. I have a question for the group. During your compilation for this presentation, what do you think your biggest obstacle was obtaining your research material? And the second part to my question is, what was the biggest kind of like a wow factor for you? Like, did you know this was happening so much? Did you realize that so many people don't know this information?
For me, I'd say it was trying to find what type of fire extinguisher is better for kitchen fires. And a wow factor was that the number one cause of home fires was unattended cooking.
Great job, group.
Nice work. Any additional questions?
Did it come up? This is Laurel from Casumnas. Did anybody, did the question come up about maybe doing something in different languages?
We did not think of that, but we totally could. I speak Spanish, and I don't know if anybody else in our group does, but it would definitely be something pretty easy to translate, because we tried to make it pretty simple. So a quick Google Translate or just even translating it manually could be accomplished quite easily.
Great. And I see Rebecca had her hand up.
Yes, I had a question on where the data came from.
A lot of the data was just from Googling. We asked Al for some help. And so some of the facts came from actually the firefighters in our class. We used some websites to just figure out some like simple data, but a lot of it was just Googling and doing a lot of research on like firefighting websites and even some district webs, like fire district websites.
Great, thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, thank you so much, Izzy and Melissa and Max. Great presentation. I loved your data metrics there at the end to tell us exactly what the impact was. And engagement, you added a factor of engagement. Love that. All right, next up, group 4. We got Haley, James, Cole, and Mariana. And again, thanks to everybody for having videos on. That helps make it humanize these presentations.
Okay, so we're group 4. We did kitchen fire safety for grease fires.
So pretty much we wanted to bring awareness to just house fires and more towards younger kids, elementary kids in particular, to try and pretty much to like just spread how to prevent kitchen fires from a young age, because if a young kid is cooking, you know, they probably don't know anything. So we made some we made a Kahoot so they could interact with it, and yeah, so probably intrigue them too. But yeah.
Yeah,
so our group just presented yesterday, and we had a time frame on how long we could present. So we don't really have pictures of the Kahoot results, which was our form of a measure of success, because we were just more so focused on, sending the information to them, and they were pretty engaged. We had them participate, asking them questions along our presentation. And our presentation, like James said, it was about kitchen safety and how to prevent fires from starting there. We went over the fire triangle and how that could be applied to a fire that, that can happen in the kitchen. They answered some questions about it. It was pretty cool.
Just cut out there at the end. Could one of y'all speak, just if you back up just one step? I know you all created a curriculum. If you could talk a little bit about who your audience was for the curriculum that you gave, how many kids were involved in that, and just a little bit about what you did as part of your presentation. And are you able to show us the Kahoot?
Yeah, so we did a curriculum. It was like slides, and we were talking to the age elementary students, like to 9 to 10 years old. We teach them how to prevent any incident that could cause a fire while cooking areas, like helping, because mostly they help. And so we wanted to give more information how to prevent them. And also at the end, we did the Kahoot, and I think that the slide above, I think I put some information there. Yeah, so these pictures were the results. It was like 8 kids in that class. So we told them about the information, and they did. Some of them paid attention, some of them were confused, but we tried to make it clear.
Great, thank you. Do you all have the Kahoot? Could one of you all show us the Kahoot?
Okay.
Mariana made it. I don't know if she can share it though, or show it.
If you're able, I can stop sharing and give you over the share. Let me know when you're ready and we'll swap over screens. Yes.
All right, so these questions just went over what we reviewed in our presentation. It's like we can prevent fires by, and they finish the sentence and so on. Like I said, we went over the fire triangle and how that could be applied to a fire that happens in the kitchen. I mean, I think they found it interesting. I don't know. I had them participate in some questions, and they answered. And yeah, that's about it. It was a short Kahoot. Again, we had time restriction for our presentation, so yeah.
Where did you all come up with the questions for your presentation, for your Kahoot?
Well, we kind of just wanted to summarize our presentation itself, get the most important or interesting things we covered in our presentation.
And for folks who don't know what a Kahoot is, can you tell everybody what a Kahoot is?
It's kind of like a game. You get to, I don't know how to explain it.
basically
I
a
could try and
question
explain
on the
it.
screen. Oh,
So Kahoot is pretty much just like a game that has different answers to a question, and you try to answer the question correctly. And if you don't, then whoever answers the most questions correctly in the end wins. Pretty much is how it works. It's like a game to learn or like to test your knowledge on something.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience on this one? Again, you all took a tack that's a little different than all the other groups. You did a curriculum for a specific audience, in this case, elementary students, and taught your curriculum. Did you do anything before the Kahoot? Was there a lesson? Did you talk through things? Did you have a slideshow or any visuals that you showed with them?
I don't think we mentioned it, but yeah, we had a curriculum that we made and it was a slideshow presentation. And so we did the Kahoot at the end as review.
Gotcha. Do you want to share any part of that slideshow? Or you could maybe in the future, you could make sure you attach that.
Click on
so we can see.
Or it's the link is attached.
Gotcha. Oh, it is attached. Thank you, Marianne. Oh, I need access. If you could add me to the slideshow now, then I can, I don't know who the owner is. Hillard.m@sfusd.edu. And the Kahoots, for folks who don't know, are a fun and engaging platform online where you can put in a bunch of questions, you can have pictures. It's run like a quiz game. It's got quiz music that plays and each question pops up and they have 20 seconds to answer the question and then you can talk about it with the group. There we go. So here's the presentation you all made. Take it a second to load. So you want to speak just briefly about some of the main topics you all covered or how you decided to set this up?
So we started with some information, what is a fire and what to do if a fire occurs. And at the end, we did give some tips how to prevent.
Picasso. Picasso is the modern way to buy and enjoy a second home. It is.
Sorry, the background noise.
Nice.
And yeah, we basically did all the information and then we played a Kahoot.
Great. Lots of good information here. It's a little dense, so I hope you're able to break it down for a younger audience. But lots of good tips. Any of you have any ideas about other places you could post this or where we could get more eyes on it, since you did put a lot of work into gathering this information?
James said that he wanted to do IK code, something like that.
You want to speak to that, James?
I'm sorry, what was that? My phone keeps on going off. Sorry.
Do you have any ideas of where else you all could post this or where else it could be viewed or who we could share it with?
Yeah, I was thinking about making like a QR code and then for the Kahoot and then like putting it on a piece of paper or something, like putting it on things and saying test your knowledge on fire safety and please put your full name on the bottom.
Okay. Getting it out there with the QR code, having other people view it and then do the Kahoot. So some good ideas. One other thing that you all might be able to do, it's something we could maybe pass on and pitch to the 9th grade health teachers and information that they could just insert into their health class. And maybe you all would be open to coming to speak in a couple of those ninth grade classes, and or make a video presentation that teachers could play for their students. Because it seems like this information, although I know your target audience was younger, is pretty detailed and could certainly be appropriate for high school students as well. Any comments or questions from the audience? All right. Thank you very much, Mariana and James and Haley. Next up, we've got, just gonna keep a million of those. Okay. We've got team 5, Reese, Brittany, Emmanuel, and Kelly.
Hi, everybody. So before we get into our slides today, our team is presenting our campaign on faulty wiring and electrical circuit overload. So before we get into our slides and flyers and stuff like that, I'm gonna let my team introduce themselves. So go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Reese and I'm a junior.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany and I'm also a junior.
What's up? I'm Emmanuel. I'm a junior as well.
And I'm the 4th junior. My name is Kelly Trung. So let's get into our slides today.
So based on research, we found that faulty appliances and overload of electronics in an outlet is a threat to the life and safety of San Francisco residents, because according to the National Fire Protection Association, there was an estimated average of 44,880 home fires involving electrical failure or malfunction each year in 2012 to 2016. The problem we would like to address would be faulty appliances and overload of electronics in an outlet. I'm going to pass it on to Emmanuel.
What happened?
Emmanuel addressed the solution.
Oh, so our solution to the problem is faulty wiring and being careful around outlets, such as for example, as one of the examples is crowding outlets, because sometimes the outlets could spark.
Yeah, so we want to educate the public on how to maintain the quality of appliances and outlets, replace casings on outlets when they get old, check outlet prongs often, supervise usage of appliances to prevent unnoticed overheating, and to check the surroundings of each outlet. So to make sure it's distant between flammable things such as clothes or curtains.
Our target audience will be Gen Z and millennials. Nowadays, teens to early adults use technology for school, with work often on their minds. Learning about how to properly care for their devices is not as much of an importance. Multitasking with appliances such as vacuums, constant device plugging for charging electronics, and a gaming system for children can overwhelm parents and cause physical damage in households.
Yeah, so our final product for this is we created a short, fun, and engaging animation of the do's and the don'ts of handling cord placement, maintenance, and supervision. So you'll see in the next slide what it looks like. Don't press it yet. It's a secret for now. So followed by a digital, along with an animation, we also have a flyer so that we could post it anywhere. And we decided to measure our success by using social media, since it's the fastest way of getting information out there, as well as measuring success in a short amount of time. And so next slide. So press it again. It should be there. Oh yeah. Okay, let's listen. Wait, can you share your audio, Ms. Hillard? There's music. You don't hear it. The audio's not working.
Oops. Let me see if I can make that happen. Hold on one second. try it. Can you hear now?
So thank you very much for seeing that. I'm gonna pass it on to Reese to talk a little bit more about the animation.
So as you can see, our animation is very, very visual, but it lacks information. We have our audience wondering, oh, why is it bad to have a cord run under a rug? Or what are ways we can prevent overload of outlets? So in the next slide, we have created a digital flyer to go along with our animation, including tips, prevention, and maintenance.
So as you could see on the right side of our flyer, we wrote that we should always be wary of the location as walls are overfilled with wires, and not knowing where your nail is could possibly damage the insulation of wires and can cause great danger. And we also made sure to note not to overload outlets, as overcrowded electrical outlets are hazardous. So please make sure you know your limits. We also wanted to talk about insulation integrity, as constant stepping on a cord running under a carpet can lose the support of insulation, as these vulnerable parts can warm up and catch fire on flammable materials nearby. We also wanted to address prevention and maintenance. So, if you're done using it, we can unplug it. It's as simple as that. So we can lower our hazards by unplugging appliances that you've used once you're done using them. And we can also surge protectors. So surge protectors protects equipment against power surges and voltage spikes. We also wanted to talk about extension cords. So we can refrain from plugging extension cords on extensions, so only have one connection. And then we wanted to talk about insulation. So the skin of wires must have no damage or tears, and if they do, you could always replace them. And last but not least, we can always check them every 2 to 3 months. By observing the physical condition of wiring on a consistent basis can help you prevent problems that may occur in the near future. I want to pass it to Kelly.
Okay, next slide. All right, so as you can see, we got our data on the slide. So we reached out to our school's Instagram account at Mission Leaders, as you can see on the right, on the left. And we made use of their public account so that people like the public can share it to their friends, their family, etc., instead of us using our private accounts. So because our target audiences are the younger generations, it's way easier to target them through social media, especially Gen Zs and millennials. We believe that Instagram was the best way to share our campaign on here. So on the left, we have, let me pull up the data. Okay, so these are the numbers we have on our flyer. We got 23 likes on our flyer, and then we got a growing 41 views on our animation and 13 likes on our animation over the course of a day. So that was just on the Mission Leaders Instagram account. And then on the right side, this is my personal Instagram account where I posted the animation and got more views on there. So for this one, from our personal posting of the animation, we garnered a growing amount of over 260 views, and how many likes? Oh, like 90 likes over the past 24 hours. As said on the bottom of the slide, all of these screenshots we took at 12 a.m. in the morning, this morning. So it's still growing, these likes, these views, etc. So next slide. So here are some more examples of how we outreached for our animation and flyer. So we posted on our personal Instagram accounts to share this with our friends and family. And so on the left side, we have the most 174 views on story. And then on the right side, another team member got 104 views on their story. So next slide. Oh, wait, yeah. Thanks for listening. Now we can open it up for Q&A.
I just want to note here that you all created a logo, which was the Mission High Bear, and you put a fire hat on it. I don't want that to be lost on anyone. That was an amazing little touch. Also, you drew and created all of that animation. Is that correct?
That is Reese right there. Yes, Reese did the
Amazing.
drawing of the animation on Google Slides. So we utilized free apps on Google to create our animation. So y'all can do the same if y'all wanted to. And I edited it on a different app, but yes. Brittany
and then you also, oh, sorry, Brittany Emanuel.
Worked on these.
Great. And then you created this infographic, which if you were in real life, you would see as a long strip, and this sits on top of this. And you created all of these diagrams, all of those things were things you did? Impressive,
Yes,
all right.
Together.
Impressive. Any questions? I see Baxter's got one for you.
I feel like the teacher's pet. You keep on picking on me here. So great job. First thing is I would love to get a copy of that video. And if I do get a copy of that video, I will post it on our social media site with the PSA with credit for your group. That was amazing. For the entire class listening in, I want to just reiterate how impressed I am with all of your presentations. Using this presentation as an example of how you can go onto the internet and onto free platforms to come up with social media campaigns or safety campaigns at zero budget other than time made. That is being innovative, that's being proactive, and that's being conscious to your department or your city or your agency's lack of funds to sometimes get this out, and you produced it. Looking at this presentation, there's professional grade diagrams and items that I would see being used in a common area. So this group and all the groups so far have just blown me away. This is amazing stuff. So good job.
Thank you. Any other questions? Be mindful of time. We're running close. I think we've got 2 groups left. All right. We see likes and claps in the chat. Thank you very much. We're going to head on to the next group. Group 6, Zev, Kenneth, Marcus, and Ingrid.
Hi, my name is Ingrid, and we work on electrical fire faculty and overload outlet. Our group is formed by Seb, Kenneth, Marcus, and me, Ingrid.
For our information, we got most of our stuff from Ashim and the links right there.
Kenneth said that he lost connection to the class, so I think I could just read this slide, I guess. The problem we identified through research, we found out that the main cause of electrical fires was from faulty and overloaded outlets. And you can prevent overloading outlets by checking your electrical cords and outlets on a regular basis by making sure everything is in place and nothing is loose or tangled. And you can use outlets with a circuit breaker. And always know where your circuit breakers are located and what parts of the house that they're connected to. Periodically inspect your power strip, test the reset button, and avoid clutter. For our target audience, we mainly focused on teenagers and adults and elderly. We chose these people because these are people who own/live in homes where faulty outlets can occur, and they'll actually be able to prevent it. Like unlike, babies or like super old people, they wouldn't be able to prevent it. So we were able to appeal to our younger audience by sending out the poster through messages that we sent, and then we appealed to the older crowd by hanging up posters around areas where we see elderly and middle-aged people walk, like such as parks and main streets. And then, oh wait, I wasn't done. For our final product, we made a poster stating the ways you can prevent it. We were able to measure our success by seeing how many people, or by like counting up how many people in total that we sent it to. And in total, it was around 75 people that we sent it to through messages. And then the way we measured our success for the poster that was hung up was we hung up a poster and then waited around an hour to see like how many people looked at it. And there was like 7 people who looked at it, and 4 of them seemed to be elderly and 3 of them looked to be middle-aged adults. All right, and this is our poster. And the next slides are how we shared it. So this is how we shared it through messages. These are just some examples of how we sent it. And then next one, this is the one that we waited to see how many people saw. So there's like a bench behind here that we just sat at, and then we watched to see how many people came up to it. And like I said, it was around 7 people, 4 elderly and 3 middle-aged adults. And then the next one is other examples. There was the first one, this first photo, this was in the Castro on the main street. The second one was on Market Street, which is another main street. And this third one was on Noriega Street, which is a popular street in the Sunset. And that's it.
Nice job. Again, we'll do some virtual clapping. I'll do some real clapping. Stuck on that. Great work, y'all. So you created the posters. You did a both digital and real life poster. I want to really note that I appreciate how you spoke to your target audience in different formats. So you said, I'm not going to get elderly folks with digital media. I'm not going to get them with social media. So I'm going to put some real world posters up, and that you simultaneously attracted a different audience with the same poster online. So I appreciate your attention to detail and your awareness of your audience and how they're most likely to receive your message. Any comments or questions from the audience? And Kenneth, I know you cut out there for a second. Is there anything else you want to add? Sure, you get back in. All right. No questions on this one? Well, great work. I appreciate your sleuth bench spying on your posters and really giving us an idea. It does speak to, again, the different demographic who is able to view your work and gain access to your message. So nice job. And your poster is very professional. Well done. Thank you. Last group is Jose, Chris, and Anthony. Take it away.
All right, guys. Hey, my name is Chris, and today in my group with me, Jose, and Anthony, we did lighters, and our slogan for that is Lights Out. A bit of context for why we picked lighters, because we felt like nobody really thought of like picking them in the first place, and all of us really had a connection between lighters because each of us had a memory of us using lighters back when we were really young, around ages of 6 and 8, and just starting fires with papers and water bottles, and realizing that as time progressed, we look back at it and feel like something badly could have happened. So we researched all of that, and to the next slide that shows like all the websites that we got our information from. We got a good bulk of our information from Hashim, who helped us out. So shout out to him. He really helped out our ideas towards it. And it showed that that the main like problem of it was that like a lot of like home fires with like that started with lighters and everything, you know, just like 50%, 52% of them started with a lighter or a match, and 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 like almost half of those fires started with like children under the age of 6, which was around our age as well. So it kind of shocks us that, you know, kids are unintentionally or intentionally causing fires, you know, that causes, you know, damage to buildings and also, you know, causing deaths around 82%, which is just crazy to think about. And I'm going to pass it on to Anthony next for the next slide.
Thanks. Our solution for this problem was to just inform people to like keep lighters in safe positions, like just away from children and like babies, just as far away from them as possible, as well as to bring awareness to the problem, because a lot of people, I know, because like Chris said, when we were young, we used to do stuff like this. And I know for a fact that no one really thought that kids were like, or at least at the time, no one really thought that I was like smart enough to like know how to use a lighter and all that other stuff. So like just bringing awareness to this problem is very important, and that's what we're trying to do. And we just like aim to help educate adults and, you know, other people who have kids to like better deal with stuff like this, whether it's be like tell them that it's not a toy to play with, or it's just too dangerous and fire is not something to be like played with at all. And as it says here, even young teens can contribute to the problem because sometimes they smoke and sometimes they have lighters as well at home. And, you know, their little siblings might see them use it, or, and this goes for parents too, their kids or siblings might see them use it, and then it might end up like just, then they might spark the curiosity like it did for me, for example. In the next slide, it talks about our target audience. And we will be targeting, it won't be gender specific, and will be aimed at college students and people who tend to work with flammable material. That's because, you know, just fire. And the primary age we'll be targeting will be young teens and young adults who have either children with themselves or like live near some, or like have just children in their vicinity. And we aim to grab the attention by either asking them questions with their experience with lighters, or, you know, like how they deal with those children when they ask them about their lighters and whatnot. And if they've either tried to educate them on lighters by themselves, or like just what they've done so far regarding the problem that is, you know, kids playing with fire at a young age. But those are those two slides. I'm gonna pass it to Jose.
All right, so this was our poster, our projects, which we use on Canvas. We did a poster, and then we did another one that was like a video of a lighter showing like how to flick it off. And then we did 10 lighter commandments, which were educate a child about lighters, put lighters in pockets, teach kids ways to resist peer pressure when using fire. Lighters are tools, not toys. Make strict rules regarding lighters. Be a good example and use a lighter in a safe manner. Don't leave them unattended. Always use the safety on lighters. Clarify to kids that TV shows are real life, not different. Don't allow them to play with it. We're just trying to get the attention towards little kids, because sometimes little kids just watch like fake videos, or like things that are edited that makes them seem real, and kids don't have the mentality to think that it's part real or fake. So the parents should like do something about it too. Next slide. And then this last slide, so our success, the measuring success, was to educate adults about lighters and stop causing fires. What we did was we put posters around our neighborhood, Mission District, a very popular place to go to. And also BART station. Our goal was to reach 20 shares or more if it's possible. And we couldn't really check the posters because of COVID. And yeah.
I would like to say something though.
Can I ask a quick clarifying question? I know you all did it in multiple languages. Can you speak to that? And then can you speak to the QR code and what happens when you click that and your hashtag and what you were thinking?
Well, I told Chris about the idea to put it in Spanish because Mission District is mostly Latinos and Spanish speaking people. So I spoke that and was like, is it possible for me to do a Spanish version? And around my neighborhood, there's a lot of Latin American people too. So we did that.
And as for the QR code, we wanted a way to let people access, like for the posters. For example, like we also put this on Instagram, and for that we could have just easily like linked more information like the caption or in one of our bios. But there wouldn't really be a way for people to get to that information if we used a poster. So we ended up using a QR code that linked one of the Fire Safety Prevention Association, one of their pages regarding the topic of fires and how children, how children relate to them.
And did you do both the digital version that you put out on social media as well as paper versions that you hung up around the city?
Yes.
And how many likes or shares were you able to get? Were you able to measure that at all?
I believe on Instagram it was, I know we didn't get a lot of shares, but for likes, I think we got around, I want to say 15 to maybe 16. I haven't checked it in, I think, a day. So that number could have changed, but it was around somewhere around those two numbers, either 15 or maybe 17.
We were able to get around 20 likes. I checked this morning.
Great. And lastly, if you could just speak to your hashtag, what you chose and why you chose it.
I guess I'll share of that. We choose hashtag lights out because it was just like the slogan. It sounded catchy when we first said it. And it basically is just saying like, put your lighters away. The lighters being like lights, which is like just the fire that comes from it, just lights out, as in like put it somewhere out of the reach of kids, or just like, turn it off and make sure, kind of like symbolizing that to not have kids have it in their hands. Don't spark that attention in there. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions that have come up for folks about this one?
So this is Laurel from Casumnas Fire. In your research, did you happen to find out how old you have to be in California to be in possession of lighters or matches?
No, we didn't really research that, but in our families, we don't really, in our families, it doesn't really matter because while you can see like a kid with a lighter, there's not like police enforcement, like knowing that, oh, this kid has a lighter and we can see it. Like, no, when young teens and adolescents smoke, they're doing it in their own privacy at their house, or they're doing it in places where no one else sees them and they know they're safe to use them.
So I'm gonna give you a little spoiler alert. In the state of California, you have to be 21 years old in order to purchase matches and or lighters or anything to deal with any kind of smoking. So just so you guys are aware that it's a California state law, you have to be 21 in order to be in possession, unless you're in the military, then you can be 18.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Laura.
Yeah.
I do think, Chris, you spoke to an important point there, right? That there can be the law, and then there's the reality of young people often doing things that society might or their families might disagree with, and doing it in the privacy of their own home or away from other people's views. So there's, we hold both those things. Baxter, do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I just want to say Christopher brought up a great point within this presentation as to the speculation based off of maybe just institutionalization or peer pressure within your own community that it's okay. I mean, using your words, Christopher, it's okay to use these lighters. And this is exactly why you need to have this PSA, is to let people know that you can lose your finger, you can burn your arm, you could injure yourself to where you'll be disfigured for the rest of your life. You can burn down your home. Worst case scenario, you can injure or kill a family member or a neighbor, etc. So great job on the presentation, and then understanding the rules and why we're applying the rules without pointing fingers.
Yeah, great work, everybody. I think lastly, Jaden, who had an unfortunate thing come up today and was not able to be here, I wanted to share a video that he made. So he addressed the question of smoke alarms and making sure that everybody is keeping their smoke alarm up to date and that the batteries are checked. And he created this video. Let's see if I can play this. Give it a second. And he did the animation for this video. Sorry. All right, simple innovation in video, but well done from Jaden there. And what he did was send it out. He sent that video out to everyone in his contact list in his phone. He asked them to share it with 3 people and to let him know if he was able to do that. And I can't remember the exact number of people that he was able to reach, but it was nearly 200 people with the video just through sharing. He wasn't on social media. And decided to share it with the people he loved. And I think he attached a message with it that said something like, because I love you, I want you to live for a very long and happy life. And I want your house and belongings to stay safe from fire. So please take a look at this video and check the batteries on your smoke detectors. So with that, we will end our presentation today. And I do want to take a second to thank